I posted something for Bentley, and the next day I had Lamborghini, Aston Martin, and Maserati all in my DMs.
What are brands looking for?
I'll get it done. I'll get it done with no questions asked.
Does social media run your life? How do people grow on social media then?
Consistency. Oh, hello, Luke.
This is the power of UK shooters.
It's just a place for people to get together, hang out, network, meet like-minded people.
And if you're watching, you should check it out.
What does creator mean to you guys?
People start now because they want to be either famous on social media or they want to have a large following and get paid lots of money from brands.
Fame is always the wrong mindset.
We shouldn't be teaching people how to make viral videos. We should be teaching people how to make cool content. I want to be like Mike.
Bruh.
Why am I actually doing this? If you want to get to where I am today, you've got to realize that you can't just start now and next year be where I am.
Let's talk about Instagram.
Yes. The love, likes, and validation is almost what people are on social media for.
Have you been sacked from Adobe yet? Michael, I say welcome to the podcast again now.
Thank you very
So
much.
you're the first guest we've had on for a second time. So it's been a year. Like I found these on my fridge
Amazing.
from last year. I think that was about a year ago.
It was exactly a year ago.
It was exactly a year ago.
Almost to the day.
That's insane. And I look 10 years younger. How's that
Because the
possible?
beard's on there?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. No, it's a Polaroid, so it helps. Anyway, mate, it's an absolute pleasure to have you back. We've
Thank you
already
for having me
been
back.
chatting and catching up. So, where to go from here? I guess let's start with what you've been doing in the last year. Now, you're one of the busiest guys I know. So tell us everything.
I mean, we're back in Bali now. It's been a full year. I think the biggest thing that's happened in the last year is that the travel ramped up another notch. So we were just on the road every month. It was like 1 or 2 different countries. And the campaigns leveled up probably 2 to 3x on, financial, which was great, but also then in terms of like stress and what was expected. So it's been an amazing year though. Lots of things have happened, and it's kind of crazy looking back over it, like how I'm trying to think what we were doing, getting ready for this time last year. We were heading back to, I didn't really have any campaigns in the works. I just done something for Adobe, and after that I wasn't really sure. And every brand basically then was just like, we want more of this. We want to double that. We want to triple that. I was out in Spain shooting commercials for Toyota, which was an amazing experience where I was directing short form content for them. We then just traveled to Cappadocia for fun. I was then in LA for Adobe Max. In
Cappadocia,
Turkey. It's where they have this crazy
okay.
balloon, like
Yeah.
So again, like just for fun, just to go out and shoot. And then then I was working heavily with Adobe. Went to Adobe Max in London first, but then I was in LA for that. Traveled to Iceland. Traveled to I was in LA actually, and then Vegas as well, shooting EDC. So did a lot of DJ stuff. I don't even know. Yeah, that was such a wide, open-ended question. And then I was in Cape Town before I came over. Yeah. So anyways, lots going on.
Business-wise then, you said 2x, 3x in terms of income, revenue. Was that, what do you put that down to? Is it just sheer volume of work, or is your strategy changed?
I think the client basis just grew that other level. I think also you learn as you go through the industry. The more you do these campaigns, the more you kind of judge and you know what to ask for, what's expected, what the rights are, and how that end result is then obviously financially how much more you can ask for in certain things. So
Can you give me an example?
So one client, maybe I would charge $3K for a project, and then I realized that I could charge like $8-9K for a project.
Why do you think that is? Is that because a lot of them's repeat business, and so you've kind of shown them what you can do?
Yeah. Repeat business. There was a couple where like I would do a campaign, I'd shoot it, and then they want to extend the rights because it did so well. So then they would come back, and then the rights would originally, like one project, I think I got paid $3,500, and then they renewed the rights for $5,000. And so suddenly you're like, tripling up or doubling up almost what you were getting paid initially, and then the rights for another 2 years after, then progressively made it bigger. And then the commercial side, like shooting bigger, I think there's a big shift, and I've something else hopefully on the horizon line for April, where now big companies need social media content, not just the TV, and they're bringing down that 100K budget and they're putting it into 10 videos for 10K each. And so then if you can get onto a couple of those, suddenly you're getting involved in much bigger budgets than just like a few £100 here and a few £100 there for those kind of videos. So if you can get in with the larger scale agencies that are pitching these things to the brands, and then you as a creator can direct, bring a team together and produce epic short form content that you know the space, whether it's TikTok or Instagram or YouTube Shorts now or YouTube long form. You can then put that together in a much larger, a much smaller package. And it's not just going to be one video for 100K, which they normally would have paid for. It's 10 videos for 100K, 10K per video. And so things like that are kind of like, I'm seeing it more and more and hearing about it more and more as well through friends. So the opportunities on those kind of things is what's, for me, is exponentially grown.
How do we come together as like a photography and videography and creative community to share this type of knowledge and gain insights as to, what we should be doing, the collective we, as kind of like a group, as kind of an industry, almost like, you think about other industries that might be unionized or might have standard kind of tiers.
No
standard, and, the thing that always amazes me with this industry is it's, fucking free for all, right? I hear from one friend that they're struggling to get jobs and that big brands don't want to have really like lower limited budgets. And then I hear from other people that, with bigger players are coming into the game now for short form video and they have huge budgets and it's all about timing and who you know. And it's still like this confluence of so much confusion. How does a beginner, where do we go to kind of get that source of knowledge? Where do we even?
I mean, it comes over time. And I feel it comes with chatting to other people. And if you can find someone else that's open and you can honestly trust them, like I have a really open relationship with my housemate. He's also a great creator. He just landed in Bali yesterday. And we're super open with how we work and what we're going to charge a client. And then so he's learned from me a ton. I've learned from him a ton. And from there so that's 2 people. And then I have the same relationship with someone else. So that's 3 people. And then early on, like people realized they could come and talk to me. And I would give them as much advice as I possibly could about pricing at certain stages through their career, because I've already gone through that. And then they'll hopefully won't make the same mistakes I did and they can level up a little bit faster. But also I'll learn from, if that then worked, I'll come back and say, man, thanks so much. I got an extra $4,000 for that. I can't believe it. And I'll go, great. Okay, so it did work. And my predictions were correct of how it actually is progressing in the industry, and then where they'll be in a year's time once they have another 100K followers, or, once their engagements or their content creation has then improved a little bit more. So I think there is no booklet. There's no like online area to go and find out. Maybe someone will make an online masterclass of some sort. Maybe I've always thought about doing a business related along with, content creation and everything else, kind of a package to try and help people and try and help creators. I've just never, again, put my time into it. So maybe one day, but at the moment, the main way that I've done it is by speaking to other people openly and hoping that you don't get screwed over and they're open back to you, which is obviously you have to put a lot of trust in people. And I don't go into a conversation with someone I don't know and tell them, but there's a few other people that have come through in London and I've become friendly with them, and I've learned that I'm going to trust you, and they'll do the same thing back, and whether it's sharing a client's email or whether it's sharing a price that they got for a reel. So you're like, shit, okay, I can do that because I have double the followers, so I can probably get a little bit more out of them that I was going to not do. So yeah, the network around you is key to then leveling up. And if you're starting off though, it's really tough because you don't have those kind of those people around you. Yeah. So,
and you don't have social proof.
Yeah.
Like you may not have worked with other clients before, or you may not have 100, 200,000 followers, right?
No.
That you can guarantee that engagement. So I find just by speaking to people and listening, and actually touched on this with our last guest, but where do beginners start, and should beginners give their time and creativity away for free to kind of step foot in that space?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The first few shoots I did were free and they were terrible, but they were, I mean, looking back, they were terrible, but at the time they were great and it was good experience. And if you can, I think the main thing is also is never say no to a job. Like even if it's something you don't, or don't know, but if you know you're not going to hate it, then don't do it. But if you think I'm probably not going to like this, but who knows, it's a few £100 or a few $100, whatever it is, go and do it, learn from it. And if you do like it, great, you can continue. And if you don't like it, fine. Even if it's a free shoot, and you've never shot it before, I was shooting every single thing I possibly could because then I was narrowing down what I do like and what I don't like. And then I can then have proof of concept. I've shot that before. I can do it. I mean, the easy example is a car. Like I'd never shot cars before. I did one shoot for fun. And then it instantly got a paid campaign. And then from there, it just exponentially grew because one car company would see it. Another car company would then come knocking on the door saying, hey, we'd like to work with you. And then I managed to get in the luxury car space. And I remember I don't think I've said this before, but I posted something for Bentley. And the next day I had Lamborghini, Aston Martin and Maserati all in my DMs asking about shoots and if they could send me a car to go and shoot with. And so like initially though, I would never have dreamed of that. I was shooting a Nissan and I was shooting like literally like my mate's car just out on the street on a driveway. So like it doesn't happen overnight. But if you put yourself out there and you do it, and maybe if you want to shoot cars, go to a car meet. There's car meets all over the world. If you want to shoot cars, hire one and go shoot a nice luxury. If you can't, then get it. You have the background of, you have that social proof that you've gone out and shot it and you've posted it and it's cool and it looks good and you've learned from it. That's then when you can then kind of get those clients in. But until then, yeah, it's just a case of grinding away and doing it.
Where does photography fit in for you at the moment? Do you do much? Or is it?
Yeah. Still a lot. Yeah.
How does it work with brands?
So, I mean, the last thing I did, I was in Dubai shooting. We were doing a photography workshop, so that was really fun, and we were obviously shooting every day. God, I think what month we are now? February. What was I doing after that?
Leap year. March tomorrow.
Yeah, mad. Brand wise, it's probably 50 video, 50 photo, 50%.
Really? Okay, that surprises me. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing stuff for Renault. It'll be on my page probably in the next 3 months. I became an ambassador for them for the R5, which is pretty cool. Like obviously it's a nostalgic old school car that lots of my mates had growing up, and then they brought out the all electric version. And so I'm doing stuff for them, and it's photo and video, 50% of each. So that's the only project I can think of right now that's coming up immediately. Planning to be shooting again, like when I'm touring with DJs, shooting that, it's 50% video, 50% photo. So
that's good. Because you always think, or it seems in the environment of brands and clients that video is king, right? Of course, because it's driven by the algorithms of social media.
Absolutely,
and they want that. So it's nice to hear that even if it was 40% or 30%, like photos still around because
massively,
you have to use them.
Yeah.
What are the brand? I'm going to keep kind of doubling down on.
We can talk
on the
business. Yeah, fine. I mean, I'm open about it, so ask away.
What are brands looking for? Why do you think you have been so successful and continue to be with working for big brands, big clients? What, in your experience, what obviously they want good content, right? But let's say a handful of people are pitching for a job and they all kind of hypothetically exactly the same. But what is going to be the difference maker?
I'll get it done. I'll get it done with no questions asked. Easy to work with. I'm reliable. I think the main thing is just like I just get shit done. Like someone asked a high-end client, and they were like, "Why? Like, how does Mike get all these jobs?" And they were like, "Because he just does it. He doesn't question anything. He doesn't, not get it done on time. The email's done straight away, and that helps by having a team. I have an amazing assistant. She helps me with everything. I've also just signed to management, so I now have a team of talent management, which is more around the social media influencing side, and we can dive into that in a little bit about why I signed. But I'm happy to have that. But the main thing is, you just go out and get it done, and you do it with passion. And like I guess the big thing there is that I've worked almost like an agency where I was then helping other creators to have opportunities, and actually seeing how certain people communicated was really interesting, because communication is key for everything, right? And people were delayed on giving the imagery and the video. People were slow on emails. They didn't have the ideas on time. And people that I expected to be really instantly, they were days late. And the people I didn't expect, some people were really good. And one of them he was very fresh in the industry, and he exponentially grew. And I know exactly why he did that, because he was so organized. The folder was named, the images were named in simple, it's simple things.
Yeah.
But if you're organized and you get shit done straight away and you're reliable and you have the ideas thing is like where it's a bit harder for some people, because I constantly have ideas and I'm thinking about things all the time. Like I never switch off. So when a brand does come to me, they know that I can have an idea within 24 hours and a really cool, something a bit different that maybe the agency can't think of or whatever. But other than that, anyone can be organized. Anyone can reply to an email first. If you're willing to check your emails a couple of times a day, anyone can do it. It's not something that no one else can do. So yeah, get shit done.
Just discipline.
Discipline, yeah. And I learned that through sport, and I think we talked about that last time. But like, sport was a massive part of my life and still is. And being a pro athlete for 10 years taught me so much discipline. And never say you're going to do something if you can't do it.
Yeah.
I will never say to anyone in life, that's not just with content creation or anything, but I'll never say to anyone, I'll do something unless I believe 100% I can follow through on it and do it. And whether that's making dinner plans or saying to a client, of course I can get that video done by the 28th of the month, and then it not being done. Like, no, that's not something I do.
So discipline and integrity.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they carry anyone through life in any industry.
Any
right?
discipline, exactly. Any industry, yeah.
Very good. Very impressed. You mentioned management. Tell us a little bit more about that. In terms of what the scope is and what it involves.
I've seen a slight shift with a few creators doing it, and I think that originally it was something, obviously music artists, sports stars, everyone's in that has kind of had that, and now a few creators have started to get them. And I was really interested speaking to other creators that do have management, how it was going for them, and it seemed to be going great. And so I was always there was a year, maybe 2 years ago now, year and a half, I spoke to one agency, but it was not the deal I wanted, and it wasn't. And I was just like, fine, I'm not doing it for the clout. I'm not doing it to be like, oh, I've got a manager, speak to my manager. I was doing it because it would be not only a good benefit for my business, but also a benefit for me having to do less emails and less of everything else.
Absolutely.
And all of that. And that's the main reason, is just to get all of that. Anytime an email comes in, I can just pass it over and let them do their work, which is great. And, they seem like great people. We've been working together for a month now, and I'm really happy with how things are going. But initially I was,
Do you want to give them a plug, or can
Connect?
you?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Connect. Yeah, of course. Yeah, so Connect. Pick up the guys at Connect.
Okay.
They're a young agency, been going since 2020. Met the team, went into the office. They're all super energized, really nice group. And I have 3 people that are really, really awesome. And they're working hard behind the scenes now to bring in some new clients and some new things. And we've got some new ideas. And they're great for doing that as well, because it's just giving me another push, because sometimes I have to be kicked to actually follow through on certain things. And we talked about YouTube very briefly. That's something I've wanted to do, and now they're like, right, let's go, get it done. And I've also got, I want to do as much as possible for them, because they need to, they got to eat as well. And I've always been very much like, if I'm eating, everyone around me is going to eat, and that's been something I've done since day one. So I want to have as much success through them, because the more success we have as a team, then it's going to be, great for everyone involved. So yeah, I think it's a good thing, because outreach is something I didn't have time for / couldn't be bothered to do. And then inbound traffic, when it would come in, which is, amazing, I was just starting to be like, oh, it's getting a bit much for me having all this. And there was so many things coming through the door, and trying to organize it all and check out what the exclusivity was for this. And if this was my socials, their socials, where it was going, the usage rights. And I think that I've kind of figured out how it all goes together, but still I know that they'll be able to bump up certain areas of rates. And it's just all about the network as well. My network has been amazing, but then to double down with their network, and then if I can help them with certain things, it'll be really good. And I think it'd be really beneficial. So I'm seeing a shift. A few more guys have signed recently to others. And I think that we'll see a few more creators getting involved, not just your classic music or sports or even like influencers, because a lot of influencers are assigned. But not many, like I would still call myself like a photographer, director, videographer, and there was only a couple on their books at the time I signed. So I'm assuming it's the same now. I haven't checked, but that was a big reason as well, is because they were willing to, bring me in as one of their newer guys in that kind of space that they were looking to grow. So
What was wrong with the first deal?
just lots of things.
They were asking for too much money.
Asking for too much, not willing to give much. They were a very big agency anyways. And like, I would just been a number on a book.
Yeah.
And they saw me as someone that had success and that I could then bring in a ton of, give them all my contacts basically. And I was like, I'm not going to give you all my work that I've already worked for years. And they were just like, well, yeah, that's how it works. You give us everything. And I was like, nah, I'm good. Cheers.
Yeah.
Whereas this one was I'm obviously going to give them everything, but there were certain clients that, like, I have a, WhatsApp relationship with probably my 4 biggest clients. And it's like, you're not going to be in the WhatsApp chat. I'm just going to text them and say, hey, what's coming up? What are we doing here? How's it going there? And then that relationship, they would just get in the way of. So they were great about it. So that was the reason.
Yeah. I just started working with, I don't know what we'll call a manager, I guess.
Okay, cool.
But he has his own small agency, and there's a big difference between working with an agency and working with an agency or an agent.
Yeah.
Right. Huge difference. And what I can see how certainly newbies and beginners in the space will, may not have the network that you already have and the social proof you already have and the following and the gravitas that you already bring to an agency. I can see how, they get sucked into that, and that's okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, it is good. I mean, I have a friend, we were in LA together. He was on the same campaign and he's super talented, but has zero like business savviness. And I was like, mate, you've just got to get to an agency because you'll do so well. And then he signed to the same agency I am. So, which is great because obviously I want him to have success because he is so talented, but was always just like, man, how do you get that client? And he didn't quite get that. And then once he realized the opportunity he had within that, it was then, but the terms was probably quite different because didn't have the network that I had. And therefore, but for him, that's unbelievable because now he does have that network within them. So it'd be really beneficial for people, especially people that have talent that either don't want to do the business side or don't have the network.
I think it's very daunting to think about the business side, but it's just as important as the content side, right? So, I don't see you doing that on your socials, but you've obviously thought about it. Maybe some education stuff on pitching or business side or image rights. Like even I'm like, some people have asked me for exclusive rights of images. Like, no, there's no money in the world that is. If I'm going to an amazing place, like there's ways around it, which I probably won't mention now. But that kind of maze can be really daunting to people, right? And there's still no kind of central place where people go, right, go and see this, go and follow this guy. He just gives a fucking brilliant advice on his business experience and what you should do with this and what you should do with that. And you should get representation or not.
I mean, that's true. I think one thing is the space as a whole within the social media, content creation, photography, video, it's moving so fast that if you were to do something, it might change within sort of 4 to 6 months. So that would be one of my...
Give me an example.
Well, like with rates and okay, so example that wouldn't change, for instance, is the image rights. So that is pretty standard. It's not changed for years. But you only learn it when you get to a certain level. Like they don't teach you that when you're starting off. So now you said that, it makes complete sense for me to do something like that because it's like no one knows about it and it's not taught and no one likes to share that.
Why does no one like to share this kind of stuff? You're one of the only guys that is willing to share, not your full fucking bank statements, but, just some general kind of financial information and, the business, certainly the litigation side of how you manage contracts, stuff like that. I don't anyway have the experience of meeting other people that are willing to share that, but I don't know why.
I think it's also scary because like some people still don't have that, like the network of brands and contacts that I just know there's going to be constant things coming in
Right.
because it's always progressing and there's always ways that we can level up. And I'm not scared to like help someone else because maybe they will get that campaign and I won't, but there's plenty of campaigns. So like, you know, if you're getting hit up for the same campaign as 5 other creators, there's another 5 campaigns out there and you can't do all of them. So like, it would be draining if you were getting every single one. And I don't want every single one either because that just makes no sense. You're going to run out of ideas. You're going to run out of energy and then you're just going to not want to do any of them. And maybe you do 5 in a month, which is great, but then you're not going to do 5 for 5 months because you're fucked. So yeah, but why? Back to the original question. Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe confidence, like, and maybe just the fact that you're not like, you weren't brought up around team. I think I'm in quite unique position with the whole team like thing. I'm very used to everyone sharing everything. Like in the locker room, that culture was cool to be around because you knew so much about all these guys would spill everything in front of you. And
Nakedness.
then, yeah, like, you know, shower
Spill everything
time.
in
And then
front of
like, yeah, literally. And then, you know, what it was like the night before, you know, everyone went out for parties and then what it was, you know, the hockey actual game itself and relationships, everything. You heard everything, you know, everyone was quite open. So maybe I was lucky to be in that environment and learned that maybe openness isn't such a bad thing within the creative space. And it was like an early example when I was starting photography, people would gatekeep locations and it would just really annoy me. And I would just be like, oh, come on, like, let's just share it. And then I would be willing to just share anything because I just saw it as like a big communal thing. Everyone could go and do stuff. So I guess that's eventually trickles down to the business side. And, you know, I've kind of done all the locations in London. There's probably not an area I don't know. So therefore, where's the next thing I can share? Well, okay, so maybe it's business advice or, yeah, whatever avenue that is. I guess it's just going to trickle down eventually for me to just be like, yeah, cool, like whatever.
Share with us something now that maybe a lot of people don't know.
Put me on the spot. I don't know. Like I share like
if you're on this podcast for a second time, I'm gonna put you through the fucking mill.
I don't really have anything that like
because you shared everything.
Because yeah, like I mean, if someone asks me something, I'll tell them.
Yeah.
Like I'm not afraid to be like, yeah, no, actually, I don't really want to discuss that. I mean, I guess the one thing no one really knew about the management, so that's a bit. I haven't told anyone else. Like my housemate doesn't know. I mean, Luke knows. A handful of other people know, but. So you're probably the fourth person to know.
Oh, what privilege! Well, good luck. I'm really excited.
Yeah, thank
you. You know, you're taking it. You're going to take it double down and triple down probably if you're going to leverage their expertise and their network and create more time for you. And that's where probably YouTube will come in now.
Yeah,
because,
precisely.
You know, you're literally delegating all the shit that you didn't have time to or don't want to do. Right?
Yeah.
So that's the idea. Isn't it? Hopefully.
Precisely. And then it doesn't matter if eventually, you know, early on, especially if you're giving them that 20%, I don't care. It's going to be amazing to have that time back because then hopefully in a year I can grow my YouTube or I can grow my TikTok or I can grow my Instagram even more. And then that will be paid back with jobs that they're going to get me in the next year because you know that's going to be exponentially growing when your social handles all grow and that kind of thing progresses. So yeah, happy with it.
Does social media run your life?
Yeah. A lot of the time.
How do you handle that? Or don't you?
No, I mean, I don't really, as much as run my life in terms of like, I guess define run your life because I'm very happy to do what I want to do when I want to do it, but I will then have to always be posting. I'll have to always be engaging. I'll have to always think about a new trend and how that's going to happen and keep an eye on what's happening because also not only it might not be good for my channel, but if a brand comes to me and they want me to create content for them, I've got to know other trends that are going on because then I've got to then transition that into something that might work for a completely different brand that's not wanting me to post it. So there's a lot of things going on there. But I think also it's fun. Like I enjoy what I do. It's really good fun to be just able to do what I want to do when I want to do it. Whether it's travel, whether it's work with some incredible brands, opportunities, like this world has opened up a ton of opportunities that I would never have expected to do. And that's whether that's travel to Bali, like, and see some cool places and meet some amazing people, or, you know, shoot some incredible campaigns and have opportunities that, you know, pre-release cameras or like, I mean, one of the biggest things I did last year actually was shoot the new Sony A7C II and A7CR cameras along with the 1635 Mark II. I shot the release video for the whole of Europe. So like,
Yeah, I remember that.
like, and photos as well. So like, yeah, I mean, that's mad. When you think about telling me that, like, that you'd be the person that was when they announced it, and the person in Europe was doing the talk, and then they were like, here it is. It was then my mug on the screen and talking about this new camera and lens and shooting it in Iceland and London. So yeah, the opportunities are mad. Like, it's so cool to be able to do that.
As your following grows, do you feel like you have a responsibility to be responsible?
No, I think I've always been quite responsible. So I don't see anything changing in terms of, I keep my private life pretty private. I keep, social media, that's my social media. And then, other things going on in the background that I just don't really, I don't share everything. So I don't really feel that the responsibility side is affecting me in any way.
How do people grow on social media then?
Consistency. I think we said this last time. It's not changed. Yeah, I mean, and ideas. I think Simone, is this going to be the next one?
The one we had this morning?
Yeah. Is he going to be before me?
Guess so. Yeah, we'll see how it fits in terms of narrative, but yeah.
So Simone, he has a course which is then all about ideas. And, some people struggle with ideas. So find out what you struggle with early on and try and identify that. And if you're struggling with the ideas, find a course or something or someone that can help with ideas. If you're struggling with the edit, learn how to edit more. If you're struggling with the photography side, go out and shoot more. And like, yeah, just do it.
How's your photography and content creation evolved since I last saw you?
Probably more video, because I've done more video.
Better video,
but just like also like I really enjoy directing.
Right.
And I think that's how, like, seeing frames and seeing things. And I've learned that because not only is that out and about in the open, but that's also based in studios or whatever it might be, like seeing what a client might want versus what you see, and how to manipulate that and make sure the client is happy, but also you're getting what you want as a director out of the team around you. That's really been interesting Oh, hello, Luke.
Hey guys, before I let you continue with the video, just indulge me for a few minutes. I want to briefly talk about my new brand, E040. Founded with my business partner and photographic artist, Finn Matson, we're proud to bring you a new artisanal jewelry and specialty coffee brand. Yep, what on earth do they have to do with each other or anything at all? Well, they're both our passions. They've always been another artistic outlet for me, now for over a decade. So for those that know me, coffee has been my other obsession since I was young. And as a result of it, I'm a qualified SCA coffee specialist. So when I met Finn, some of you might have seen my podcast with him when we barely knew each other, our love for art and jewelry had a home. And that home is here, House of E040. E040 is, amongst others, an artisan jewelry label, and it's all about the art of intent for everything that we do. Our intention with E040 was to add a touch of celestial elegance and artistic expression to our visual narratives. Every jewelry piece is a statement, a reflection of your unique story and purpose. It's not just about jewelry, it's a wearable piece of art that speaks volumes. Picture this: silver or gold adorned with an actual piece of lunar meteorite. That's right, straight from our moon, making every piece as unique as the moments that we usually capture through our lenses. From limited edition lunar jewelry pieces to finely crafted 925 sterling silver and gold rings, pendants and chains, there's something for all of you in our unique designs. We're also committed to the environment as much as possible. Our coffee is direct trade, organically produced and locally farmed, minimizing impact on the environment as much as possible. Our jewelry packaging is all sustainable and recycled, other than the moon rock, of course. Proudly eco-friendly in both packaging and jewelry production, you can feel good about looking good. And to top it off, we offer free worldwide shipping, ensuring that a piece of lunar beauty can grace your collection no matter where life takes you. And if you ever find yourself here in Bali, please come and visit us. Our cafe and community-driven art house is a haven for creatives just like you. So before we head back into the video, please just take a moment to explore E040's collection. And as a special treat for you, my wonderful audience, E040 is offering an exclusive discount. Head over to our website and use the code below for a 10% discount off your jewelry purchase. The link and details are in the description. Anyway, thanks so much for listening, and I'll let you get back to the video now.
welcome.
It's good to be here.
Better late than never.
I know. Yeah, tell me about it.
I haven't seen you for like a year.
Yeah.
This time last
8
year.
months, something like that.
What's been going on?
God, it's been one hell of a ride. I guess I left Bali in July. I went to the US with my brother, a bunch of UK shooters things, which I'm sure you've touched on already.
Not
We
yet,
haven't
not yet.
talked about waiting for
On
you,
the
mate.
list.
Okay, groovy. And then I cut a long story short, a bunch of things. Then Venezuela, which is a big trip, which was incredible.
Some amazing shots.
Probably the best part of the year. And then back out here.
What were you doing in Venezuela?
It was a passion project.
Oh, was
So,
it? Oh,
yeah.
cool.
So I've always dreamed about going to Venezuela because my parents went there on their honeymoon.
Right.
So they've always told me about this incredible place that unfortunately has been a tough place to visit over recent years. And ever since meeting one of my close friends now, who was the guy that ended up taking me out to Venezuela, I met him about 7 or 8 years ago, and he used to work for Google. I've always wanted to go with him.
Did you meet him at the UK shooters?
So that's an interesting transition. We actually, funny enough, met at the UK Shooters event, but I didn't really we didn't properly connect there. It was a very quick meet and greet. And then about 3 months later, we went on a trip to Italy through a mutual friend that met through UK Shooters as well. This is the power of UK Shooters, which we'll get into in a second. And then cut a long story short, he's from Venezuela, always dreamed about going, said I wanted to go. He said, can't do it up until last year.
So he's just a mate.
He's a mate, yeah.
UK shooters, so we just talked about how you've been evolving and your photography and videography has evolved over the last year. Whatever. UK. How's UK shooters? Let's talk about the UK shooters, world shooters, all the kind of spin-offs. What's been going on for the last year? I mean, it's been growing, right? And in terms of,
Yeah, it's been amazing. So obviously the community, for anyone that doesn't know, UK Shooters was started in 2016. And I just wanted to get people together, which is a way for, again, we touched on this, but photography was like a soloist hobby, gatekeeping. There was all that kind of stigma around it early on, especially in the UK with the way that we are prim and proper. And then in the US, it was way more open. I went out to the US and everyone was like super chilled. Like, literally you'd be shooting in the street and people would go, oh my God, what are you shooting on? No way, I'm shooting on this as well. And it was like, wait, what? You want to actually talk about photography? And I was buzzing. And then I came back to the UK and I was like, where is this community? And there was nothing. So then I launched UK Shooters. We started it. And then it just exponentially grew and grew to what it is today, which we have shooters communities around the world, but in particular UK Shooters, which Luke and myself run. And we had some epic events. And I'm going to have to get my schedule up because I can't even remember what we've done. But in the last year, we ran 10 events.
Which is relatively slow. Like we had a really
Usually
busy
it's
year.
One a month,
essentially.
essentially.
Yeah, essentially
You
one
try and
month.
do one
But like the big thing is when we come to Bali, I come out for a month and that means 2 months off
Things
usually
slow down, yeah.
for January, February off. But it's just a place for people to get together, hang out, network, meet like-minded people, and just learn from each other as well. And just have those friendships. And it's funny because my housemate and we met at the first big UK Shooters event we did. That's where Ray then met and you, and it's where a ton of the older guy, I say older, we've only been doing it since 2016, but where that original group met in early 2017. And in terms of the growth has been great to see the community just continue to grow and new people as well, wanting to come all the time to these events to just meet other people, really. We had a pretty hectic one in the UK and in the US. We had some awesome stuff in LA. We just actually ran one this month, just gone last weekend, which was great. Where else? Oh, Dutch. And then in the Netherlands, they've been smashing it as well. So they've just run 2 events, one with F1 and one with Sony. So yeah, it's been great. And it's been a lot of fun.
Sure has.
What does the future look like then for UK shooters? Is that going to be a bigger and bigger part of your daily life?
That's a great question.
I mean, we had talks at the end of last year just to discuss how we want to grow it and how it can exponentially grow. And it's just a case of time and how we can dedicate enough time to it to make it either exponentially grow even more or just continue on the time frame we're on, where it's 10 events, 10 to 12 a month, 10 to 12 a year, and then keep doing what we're doing and growing that community at a really great level. Or things like, do we have like a co-working space and a coffee shop where
Yeah.
we can actually then have a physical space, which makes it way easier for people to come in
Yep.
and have that. But then it's a
Sure, you
case of
get
like,
that.
do we have the investment for someone to actually come in and help us, because that needs to have someone else get involved. In London,
Why?
prices
You
are much.
guys are rolling in it. Just use your own cash.
I mean,
It's
yeah.
not quite the same as putting up a place in Bali,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
True.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more
Very true.
expensive.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen the rent prices in London, but they're definitely not
Fucking
friendly
hell.
right now.
I was back in the UK a couple of weeks ago, and every time I go back, like, how do people afford to live here?
It's crazy.
And in London is
Ah.
obviously even worse.
We looked at a few spaces and it was just like,
Yeah.
fuck, you want that much? Like, what does it come with? Like, where's
You have
the-
to move
does
country
it
and
have
just
a-
go somewhere else.
Well, yeah. I mean, we then said, oh, Bali would be cool.
Indo shooters.
Indo shooters.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much scope for opportunity. It's just a case of it. How do we then separate our time? Do we bring in someone else to help? Do we have another person come in and start running the event side so we can just have more of them? Do we look to have a co-working space / coffee shop? How would that model work? Would it be subscription based? Would it be, you pay on entry? Would it be, how do you get these things to roll moving forward to keep it sustainable? Because shooters is not really about making mad money. It's about getting people together. And so therefore we just want to make sure we're not losing money
Cost of
on
coverage.
then having this amazing, giving people opportunity, which, we've always done and we want to continue to do.
Yeah.
100%.
What does the scope look like for you over the next 6 to 12 months?
Me specifically? Good question. Whoa.
He asked me and I was like,
hope it's a
don't
good
even know.
answer.
The first step is getting a meal today.
So you've been shitting through the eye of a needle for the last
Yes.
24 hours.
I haven't been too well, so I'm very happy to kickstart my day with a podcast. It's the best way to go.
Bless him.
And then I'm gonna eat. So that's my first thing. Next
So the first thing out of the next 6 to 12 months
is eat.
is eat.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
that's good.
Yeah, which
Okay,
is regularly my kind of
yeah,
schedule.
required for
fine.
survival.
Exactly. Yeah, it's kind of important. And then for the next 4 months, I'm here in Bali.
4 months.
Yeah, which is going to be great. We can maybe get another podcast in. Who knows? Oh, get him around. And
We're going
then
away.
We are going away. Where are we going?
You're going to Java tomorrow?
You're going away.
No, we're going to Komodo. You've
Oh, yeah,
already
we're going to
forgotten.
the
Oh, yeah.
Motorheads. Yeah, that's fun.
He's already forgotten.
It's like a little kid,
Is
isn't it?
Yeah. Well, no, I
Dad.
thought I was so I'd gone from very, very early stage to then the full scale. So I'd gone from like literally the next hour to the next 6 months to a year.
Oh,
Fine.
right. Okay.
So-
So,
okay.
yeah.
So you've gone
we've
all
gone
the way to the
from,
end.
crazy.
From 1 hour to
To-
4 months,
okay.
you're going to be in Bali.
Going out. So
Yeah,
then
fine.
we're going to Komodo,
Yeah,
and then you leave Bali, unfortunately, which is very sad.
correct.
Then in May, I come back to the UK for the UK Shoots road trip, which is very exciting. And if you're watching, you should check it out online. It's
Camera's not
super
on.
fun. And then I then come back here for a month and a half, and then potentially move to Norway. Yeah,
What?
potentially move to Norway.
This is, hang
slash
on,
the
this is
UK.
exclusive for the podcast.
We'll see. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
it's kind of up in the air.
Okay. Why Norway?
My girlfriend's from there,
Ah, okay.
so yeah, there we go. Boom. God, we love that. What do you call that? An ad lib.
Yeah.
That's going to be the soundtrack. To the episode.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, were you guys talking about love before?
No.
Apart
from my passion for photography.
Love that. That's great. So yeah, Norway, UK, Bali. It really depends. She's studying at the moment, so
You don't have to live in one place all the time.
No,
You
exactly.
travel enough as it is.
yeah, definitely. But that's my plan.
I've got a question here. Sorry.
Yeah,
How long is this Norway thing going to?
It really
Really
depends.
playful.
We're
I think we've opened up something here
Yeah.
that they need to discuss.
because
first.
we always do. There's always an interesting Luke's love life conversation on this podcast. The whole thing started last time with how Matilda helps run my social
Oh,
media,
fine.
so-
Okay.
Yeah.
I better shout out my girlfriend
Yeah.
then while we're talking.
Simone.
Simone's amazing. Yeah, she's
Oh,
helped
yeah.
me a lot, and yeah, she's awesome for the support. So thank you, Simone.
That wasn't forced at all.
No, he's mentioning Matilda left, right, and center off the bat. So I've got to.
What does Simone do for you at the moment? Other than look after your
Looks after me.
sexual and
Just in
emotional
general.
needs?
Yeah, just in general. That's it. She's amazing. No,
Is
she's
she doing like assistant stuff?
she's doing her own thing.
Oh, okay.
So she's become a full-time creator as well. Quit her job this time last year, and yeah, I've just wanted to let her go out and find her own way as a creator, really. So
What does creator mean to you guys?
photographer, I guess,
Oh,
but
that's
also like the
good question.
opportunity within like social media management / I guess freelancing is also
Yep.
kind of on that same level.
I think creator is a tough term.
Mm.
I think it specifically relates to us as the creator space we're in. So photography for a long time for both of us, video for me now. I'm kind of moving into that.
Yeah.
It's kind of where I make most of my money nowadays, which is very fun. For you, I guess it's podcasting. That's a creative thing. But also I think within that, the difference between just solely a photographer or just solely a filmmaker or just solely a podcaster is we also run businesses to kind of allow what we do and to kind of keep bread on the table, to pay for rent, things like that. So I think the beauty of the word creator for me is it tells more than just I take photos or I do videos or I speak to people online. It also kind of incorporates the entrepreneur type part of that as well. How to run the business, how to make money, how to connect with brands, all of that stuff. It's more than just the photographer, but kind of both at the same time, if that makes sense.
I don't think it's very difficult to be a photographer, just a photographer
Exactly.
these days, and make enough money to survive. And that's both sad, but also has opened up a load of other opportunities. Like when you talk about being a creator.
Yeah, I guess you need to be the biggest photographer ever just to be able to take photos and kind of thing. And I guess that's also why video came in for me, is like, I mean, you've done pretty well with pretty much solely focusing on photo for a really long time.
Yeah, we were just saying earlier that now the shift's probably 50-50, but I'm still trying to, like, as I said, like to my agency and then to people, I'm always still saying photography is like the thing to sell. And then if they want video as well, then fine, great, I can do it. But
if you're doing a personal project, what do you go to first?
Photo. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you walk into your house, you want one of your photos on the wall.
Yeah.
That is interesting. How much personal stuff do you actually do these days?
Yeah, quite a lot still.
Yeah?
I mean, this whole trip, like Komodo is just going to be like for fun. We're just going to go and shoot some cool stuff. And like, there was
You'll pick up a job between now and then.
Probably, yeah. I think we already have.
We
actually.
already have.
But yeah, like,
Fuckers.
I mean, we did a Sony Cando trip, which was like the Sony ambassadors around the world all went on a trip within their country. And like, that was really fun because we were just shooting for ourselves and on testing out different Sony gear. And I really like remembered how much I loved photography. And that was like a really nice reminder, but also then shooting on new things like underwater housing. So again, we have an underwater housing when we're going to Komodo because I want to do that and try some more, just different things, keep it fresh. But yeah, photos, if I go through the door, I love, just like you having a print and yeah, it's just, I guess, a big love, a big passion.
Do you find anyone like asking you guys, hey, Luke, hey, Mike, I want to be a content creator?
Yes.
How do I do it?
All the time.
What do you say? Or what does that fucking mean for a start? Right?
Exactly.
Define kind of.
It's a very good question. That's actually probably one of the main things is I asked a question back. So you can't really just say one thing. It's like, what do you actually want? Like, what's the specifics of your question here? Are you looking to be a photographer? Are you looking to be a filmmaker? Are you looking to be, it's anything. The beauty of that word creator is I could be a graphic designer full time and kind of document my stuff online and things like that, or be a dancer, nowadays with TikTok, yeah, I wish I could say I'm a dancer, but I'm not. But it's that's the question really. But usually I guess when they come to us, it's around about photography, maybe video nowadays for me. So the answer usually is something like pick up a camera, whatever that might be with you, whether that's a phone, or is your like friends or family's camera that you might be able to get a hold of, and pick it up every single day. And that's it. That's my instant advice. I think then taking it that step further is like, you have to be the creative first. Like that's what we all, Mike, obviously you'll touch on this yourself, but I think Mike started through his love for photography through like school and university because you did photography there.
I did film back, but it wasn't like anything. I would say it came about when I was playing sport and I needed something to get away from sport. And I was going out and taking photos in the evening and just experimenting with photography was like a way of de-stressing in the evening. And like, there's obviously a lot of pressures to win, right? And then that was like my avenue out of it.
Yeah.
And that was why I did that. But I think one of the big things there is that like the landscape within this industry has changed so much over the last sort of 6-8 years, where like when we started, we were doing it just because we wanted to be photographers. And I think people start now because they want to be either famous on social media or they want to have a large following and get paid lots of money from brands. And so that's changed massively from when we started and why we started, because that wasn't even a thing, to then now people see it and they go, I want to have that lifestyle. And then they kind of like don't start at the grassroots, which is just going out with the camera every single day, which again, like, is one of the big things you asked about Simone and what she's doing. But she's shooting so, like, she's had the camera out so much since we've been here, and she's just so excited all the time. And it's like getting those 10,000 hours in to be able to progress and get better. And she's not thinking about any of the financial things or wanting to be famous. She just wants to do it because she loves it, which is then so amazing and awesome to see. And that is what you need to have if you're going to have the sort of success that will have longevity as well. Because you can have overnight success, a reel can blow up and you can do something great, but you're not going to then have continual jobs for years and years and years if that just happens as a one-off.
100%. That's, yeah. I was going to jump in there, is that I think that it's not only the pre-questions that you need to ask before you actually start getting into it, like, why am I actually doing this? But also realizing that this industry, like many industries really, like anything you want to do, if you want to be successful at it, is you've got to realize that this is going to be like a multiple decade experience. You're not going to, I mean, nowadays, I guess with social media, you have these, you know, I guess lucky stories where people, not lucky, but more random stories where people will post something online and suddenly they'll blow up. And that's amazing. It's really amazing that we can do that now. But I myself, and I know that you're very similar, I've been doing this now for 12 years full time.
Not 12 years, I can confirm.
What's that?
I've not been doing it 12 years, I can confirm.
Yeah, so I've been doing this for 12 years now,
That's
which is a
mad.
long time. I had 12 kids this year, and it's been like every single day. I've been, at the beginning, it was very much about the photography. You know, for me, it was just about taking a photo every single day and learning how to edit it, and every single day sitting down, editing, things like that. Whereas then it progressively through social media started to become this job. I guess people started to get in contact being like, hey, we want you to take these photos, things like that. And over time, for me, it's naturally become a living. But obviously when someone comes to a question and says, how do you want to be a creator? I say to them, look, like, this was a natural progression for me for 12 years. If you want to get to where I am today, you've got to realize that you can't just start now and next year be where I am. Like, you might be even further than me. But who knows? That's just how things go. But the reality is you've got to understand that you might take 15, 20 years to get to where I am or to where you want to be. This thing requires the passion first, so that it allows you to get through that 10, 15, 20 years to be able to then make it a living and actually start to kind of feel comfortable and make money from it, kind of thing. So,
well, very well said, both of you. I talked a little bit about this with Simone because I questioned him on his intent to, for those that don't know, we don't know when we're going to release each episode, but you know, for his course and his free access to his ruse formula, and you know, the catch line is how to make viral videos, right? It's like, well, for me, that's the wrong intent. Like, we shouldn't be teaching people how to make viral videos. We should be teaching people how to make cool content. Like, and then the strategy, insights, and luck go into how to get that cool content viral. And, you know, I was being a bit ignorant because he educated me on that. Yeah, well, that's not actually what I teach. I teach ideas. It's just kind of a clickbait tagline.
100%.
But unfortunately, that's kind of the world we live in. And I'm interested to hear, I totally agree with both of you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The problem is people sometimes may have the wrong intent, you know, because they want to be famous, don't realize that being famous on social media doesn't fucking mean anything. And being famous generally doesn't mean anything, but they want to be known. They want to get likes. They want to just love me, love me, love me, love me, right?
Yeah.
Whereas that is great. That should come off the back of you putting in the fucking hard yards for so long.
Yes.
Crafting a skill, figuring out what you like, figuring what you're good at. Like you said, there's going to be the odd reel, if you're lucky, goes viral. But you know the content creators that get lucky reels and don't last because they haven't got the authenticity or genuine kind of foundation.
100%. I think I do think that fame is always the wrong mindset. I mean, at the end of the day, I wouldn't describe us as famous in any way. We have no.
I think you're famous.
No, not at all. There's obviously fame is a very, very broad spectrum. Being known is not why you should be getting into it. That
Tom
said,
Cruise is famous
exactly.
because he's known to everyone in the world, right?
Full stop. Period. He's famous. But anyway, fame, even on the Tom Cruise level, should not be the dream. That said, I don't think like, you know, the concept of making good money from this, or even, you know, be wanting to have your content be viral is a negative thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. If that's your intention, that's fine. I'm sure that throughout that you'll learn to look at the right things from it. I think, because at the end of the day, nowadays, I think virality is becoming an art form in itself. There are people that are learning how to hack the viral code on the internet, because nowadays art has always been a way of like figuring out our surroundings and finding a way for a creative to then give, you know, taking surroundings and then giving something to the population of the world. And I find often that, you know, as we move through different stages of evolution, now we're moving into technology. Technology is becoming that environment that we can then kind of throw our art and our perspective on. And I think virality in a sense is a form of art. And, you know, nowadays, you know, social media is the canvas that we'll use to share our artwork. So in a sense, I think actually talking about Simone's work, I think the concept of like the virality tagline, actually, despite it becoming a tagline and being like a good clickbait, which is great and awesome for his kind of virality in that sense, is actually also in a way an art form as well. Like I am obviously, and as well as Mike and things like that, despite us focusing on the art form, because that's what when I say the art form, I mean photography and filmmaking, because that's why we're in it. I'm still now actively thinking about ways that I can hack the viral code, because that's like, in essence, how we now need to navigate this creative, artistic world. It's like nowadays it's not having, I don't know, really, I don't even know how it worked when back in the painting days, but like that's, you know what I mean? Do you get the idea? Like back then painting was like, I put my painting up on a wall and people see it and then they might like
and
it.
Exhibitions,
yeah. Exactly. Whereas nowadays it's the social media world.
Yeah, but there's a difference between making a piece of art and posting it.
True.
And hoping that, you know, maybe 1,000 people like it, maybe 1 million people like it, right? There's a difference between that and creating it purely for the best possible scenario for it to go viral. Because then all we're doing is we're playing into the machine of virality, which is not helping any kind of human race at all, because all it's doing is exacerbating the need for phones and social media, which by anyone's kind of, you know, assessment is generally not a good thing. So I believe we have a responsibility to not, that needs to be an element of what we do, because like you said, for us as artists to make a living and to pay rent, like we need to be able to navigate these systems and these ever changing machines and algorithms. But for that to be at the forefront of what you're doing or what you're teaching or why you're making something, I believe we have an ethical responsibility to not make it that, to make sure that people are not getting into this environment just to be a content creator, just to get likes, just to get viral hits, because it doesn't help anyone. Like if you're going into it with the opposite intent, but realize that there's an important mechanism behind all this that you have to pay attention to in order to succeed in whatever you're trying to do, then for me, that's great, because it's kind of a tool. It's more of a tool than it is like a goal. And that's how I think. But it's extremely overwhelming. It's extremely complicated, especially for new people coming into the world of photography and filmmaking. It's like, it's so easy to get caught up. And, you know, I'm talking like I'm perfect. Like I fucking put a lot of attention into social media because it is important. But I get concerned with beginners, novices, newbies coming into the space and just being like, I want to be like Mike. I want to be like Mike. I did that last time. I want to be like Luke, right? I want to have these.
Where's the song for me?
Incredible. Just trying to think of a Luke song.
I'm kidding.
I want to be, whatever.
Yeah.
I want to be like you guys, right? In terms of, I want to have the following. I want to have the hits. I want to have the likes. I want to love me. If that's your intent, I just don't think that's good for anyone, especially for that individual. So yeah, rant over.
I do agree. I do agree. I think it's important for me to clarify what I was speaking about before. Again, I wanted to box the fame side of things, because I do think that the want and the need for like validation is a dangerous world. And that's, social media has become that. It's super difficult. Like, I feel it the same. Like, some days we'll get 10,000 likes and be super happy, and some days I'll get 2,000 and I'll be like, and it's
even though you know that actually that's maybe nothing to do with your content.
I mean, well, yes and no, because I have learned nowadays there's usually some form of correlation, whether that be the correlation between my work or the correlation to when I posted it, or for example, the specific form of content it might be. For example, like my audience, and I know social media have very specific, I don't know, contrast like or saturation like or things like that.
Right. Okay.
That's how, a lot of the time I've progressed my editing style into, despite doing it for me, I've learned what people are looking for on social media and things like that.
Interesting.
So yeah, but
so you've adjusted your style based on getting more like.
See, this is an interesting point. Yeah, it was a good one.
You just said that.
Yes and no. I did just say that. Yes, in the sense that, because I guess I'm looking in a way in this social media world, and this is the beauty for me of like finding different ways of navigating the creative space. For example, nowadays my passion has become photography again, because video has become my work, because that's where most of my money comes from. That said, I'm still really passionate about creating the videos. But
it's fun, isn't it?
It is really fun.
Yeah.
But the through being a creative, obviously I need to be true to my artistic self. But at the same time, I need to make money. I need to make a living from this. So there's a way that you need to combine those two things. You do need to think about, because nowadays the platform to grow and to get your work seen and therefore make money is social media. So I think it's important for that not to be the specific reason why you're getting into this. But then again, I do think it's important that you really learn how to make the most of social media and really grow from it. And so then, yes, therefore, I have, through my creative way, found a way to combine what I know people are looking for with what I want to release. I'm not saying that it's specifically creating for the audience, but in a way, as artists, I think we're finding ways or I guess finding the pocket of social media or the population that like the work that we do. And through social media, I've found the right pocket. But I also do think that through the years of me doing this, I've also learned how to gamify the different pockets of social media and how to do that. And I think we both have learned that in a sense. And I know that each different social media and each different section of social media, there are different games that you can play to help grow your followings, whether that be on Instagram, whether that be on YouTube, whether that be on Instagram as a photographer or a dancer or a cook. There are different ways to gamify this space to then grow. Oh God, I could go on forever, but
if an app like Instagram, and I'll ask both of you this question, if an app like Instagram, I don't want to talk about TikTok, I hate it. Let's talk about Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
If Instagram hid follows and likes, like just didn't exist, right? Follows and likes and comments, right? You just post and you're like, fuck, you know what you get, but it's not public. For brands to see your engagement and your exposure, they have to go through a pitch process, right? So if that existed, would you still put as much time and effort into it?
The question is, would it be as big? Like, unfortunately, I have this feeling that the love for likes and validation is almost what people are on social media for. So like, it's a really awesome and interesting question, is like, if that disappeared, would it be a thing? Like if suddenly Instagram decided, out of all of them, which they kind of have a little bit, but I think there's probably a reason why it's still not being an official thing, because you can remove your likes on Instagram if you wanted to. I think if it just suddenly Instagram said, boom, no more likes, no more comments, all of this stuff, and it was just about posting your art form, maybe there's comments. But then again, that's another form of validation.
It's a validation, so it wouldn't work.
Exactly. So it wouldn't work. I just don't know if it would be. I don't know if it would be.
But would you
but,
post
like,
as much? The
online-
question was, would you post?
Well, I would want to post, but then again, I'm really curious to hear your perspective. So
I haven't said anything in the last 10 minutes.
I'll
You
give
just-
mine, and then you.
I
jump in.
gotta go in a minute.
Oh, have you? Okay, we'll
Yes,
wrap it up.
I was supposed to leave it for-
You give your perspective, and then I'll give mine.
I think no is the answer. You wouldn't, because it's a direct correlation to, for me, it's a direct correlation to work. And so I know the more that I post and the more that I show that I can shoot and that I can do, the more jobs I know will come in. So if that was to change and maybe suddenly I had to be on your website, maybe I would update my website every 2 weeks, because I'd suddenly be like, okay, this is what I'm doing now. This is the newest thing I've shot. This is the newest thing I'm doing. This is the newest country I've been to. This is the newest style I've tried. I look at it as a way of like showcasing what I'm doing and how I can be at the top of a brand's list of like, oh, okay, cool, right, this looks cool. We'd like to use him. So no, I wouldn't.
Okay, but hypothetically, if brands had access to that information, but
Then
it
yeah.
wasn't public information.
Then yeah, I would, yeah.
Okay.
Because that's effectively how I make money, and therefore, and I enjoy what I do. So it's a direct thing that go hand in hand, where I love what I do. It's awesome that I can make money from it. So putting them together doesn't really make a difference.
I think that's
to me.
where YouTube is so good.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of a bit of both. Obviously, you see views, but it's not as kind of central to the post, right? First of all, it's more like a search engine than anything else. I'll watch a video if it's a guy that's got 500 subscribers, but it's telling me what I want, right? So I think that's where YouTube has fucking nailed it, because it gives a bit of everything to everyone.
Yeah. And they reward their creators. So they reward you as a creator for putting your content on. And again, back to that initial conversation that we had, I think for longevity as well, like I'm looking to not only just post, I post on Instagram and then it's gone within 24 hours. And, I've got to think about the next thing I can do. I want to have a longer form where I'm taking the audience on this cool adventure to go and shoot something new for me, and also chat to a creator that knows what they're doing. And then that will live there for a much longer period of time and not be gone within 24 hours.
Yeah, evergreen.
And then have to then think of the next thing that I need to do. So, yeah.
Well, I know you're jumping more into YouTube, so
hopefully,
good luck with that. Hopefully, I look forward
Thank
to
you.
seeing stuff. You should definitely do more YouTube. I don't know why you
That's my
don't.
focus.
He's got a few.
Oh.
Well, he says that for the last 2 years.
It is. Well, I've got a vlog coming out in the next few days.
Once a year, is it?
Wherever the camera is.
No, he's got 2 videos ready to go.
Well, yeah, the last few years has been really tough, but that is my focus. YouTube is this year my focus, because video has been for a really long time. I think it's even for photographers that solely take photos, YouTube kind of is that space. So yes. 100% on that.
I just want to kind of touch on what you're saying about your photos and kind of finding out what your audience kind of likes. Whatever they like and whatever you post, it's fucking amazing. So just keep doing it. Have you been sacked from Adobe yet?
Well, big question. Yes, I have.
What? Oh, have you?
That's funny. Well,
I think sack's the one word. You only get to be an ambassador for Lightroom 3. Well, you can explain. Sorry, this is all your.
Yeah. So was it last year I was officially a Lightroom ambassador?
Yeah,
I think it was just.
Yeah, you just
super
were.
excited.
Couldn't really say too much.
Yes. So just the Lightroom ambassador, it was one of the most incredible experiences. It was so fun because I've been using Lightroom for, 12 years since I started photography. I was very, very grateful for it. As Mike just said, it's a year-long thing. So Lightroom
So just come to an end now.
Just come to an end. Exactly, literally just come to an end. And I'm very grateful for that, because I think not only for me, it's been this really nice experience that I can then kind of look back on.
Yeah.
But also I think to give other people the opportunity. I now have a bunch of friends that are reaching out to me being like, oh, I've been reached out to by Lightroom to be a new ambassador for this year 2024. And it's super cool. Like giving new people consistently every single year the opportunity to have the same thing and have the support that I got from Lightroom, I think is massive. So it's a shame, it's sad, but yeah, we've moved on.
It makes it almost more special that it's kind of
Exactly
1 year done.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's fantastic. All right, guys. Well, look, I've taken up. You need to go. You've only just turned up, but should fuck off anyway. I'm gonna end with one question written by a previous guest. You might know him, Simone.
Yes.
And the question is, I'm going to start with Mike first. What's one piece of advice that you would give your 18-year-old self?
My 18-year-old self, I guess I was in a very different position with finances, and what I was doing at the time was obviously trying to be a pro athlete. So But I think the one thing I would say is just have confidence in yourself, because it wasn't until the last couple of years that I actually had confidence in myself, even though I had so much success through that. I'm 36. So, you know, I was a pro athlete for 10 years from 23 to 33, and then was doing content from around 2016 and started professionally, like making decent money from it in 2019, I guess, was when it was like, oh, actually, this could be a full-time thing. And I think early on, for years, even though I was doing what I loved and was doing hockey, and then even early days of photography, I never like believed in myself. So I think just something simple, like believe in it. You got it.
That's awesome.
That is really good.
You can't take the same answer.
I don't have the same answer, but that was great. I like that one. I also would think the same. I think confidence is very important. I think there are so many different advice points that I'd probably give my 18-year-old self at this point. But I think one of the best ones that I can think of off the top of my head is learn and learn to apply. So learning is obviously very important, but if you just consistently learn, then you're just learning and you don't have anything to do with it. Then you've got to then learn how to apply, whether that be, you know, through learning how to be a photographer and then learning how to apply photography to then make some form of success from it. I think learning to apply is really important. So for me, it's like in that point in my life, I've always loved learning, but I spent a lot of time just learning and just like consistently being like, yes, I mean, I'm reading and I'm listening to podcasts, I'm doing all this stuff and it's great, but you've got to apply yourself to actually succeed in anything. So I think the biggest thing is to learn, but that realize that learning just to learn doesn't actually do anything. You've got to apply yourself and apply what you're learning to actually succeed in it. So I think learn and learn to apply.
Wise words.
Integrating that knowledge is the difficult bit.
Yeah, big time.
Very good. Anything else? I know we've kind of compressed. Certainly our chat kind of got cut in the middle.
God, Luke, come on, man.
No,
We will have
nice
another conversation, I'm sure.
nice to join you.
Anything else you want to say, mention?
No, I think we're good. I mean, obviously, if people want to get involved with the community, then you can check out at, UK.shooters and world.shooters, the two big ones that we have. And we'll be promoting all of that. We also have a newsletter, which is in the link in both of those bios.
Mm-hmm.
Socials for both of us. I'm m.visuals on all socials.
At Watch Luke. And if you're looking to get involved in the community and get to know people, that is it. That's that place. If you want to meet people in the creative space,
M.visuals.
yeah, and M.visuals. But no, message us, message the community, and we hopefully, if we're in your space, if you're listening from the UK, Europe, or
US.
the US, then we're in your space. If we're not in your space, then I'm sure there's a way we can help find people in your space. So community is super important.
Yeah, and I think that, for people watching, listening, it's you two are probably the two biggest guys when it comes to community. You'll always reply to messages. You're always active on DMs, emails. Like, you are very approachable, so people can just come up to you, say hi, right? And I know there's thousands of people that will want to do that. So we'll link all that in description. And
thank you.
Suffice to say, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you
great
for
to see you again.
Thanks for
having us. Yeah,
briefly.
It's been good to be back. Thanks, mate.
Good luck with the shits.
Cheers.